I have Recon here with me. I know your work from ISPW. I guess I falsely made the assumption that you were a New Jersey guy. So where do your sports allegiances lie? Are you like a Bills guy, or are you a Pats guy, or
No, I would have to say, out of those, that would have to be the Bills. Yeah.
just I mean, who's your team? I just it's
Uh,
kind of.
I pull because I'm a little different. I tend to pull for New York teams just in general.
Mhm.
But so this year I'm hoping that it's Bills Giants in the Super Bowl. Personally, I,
Okay.
I I wouldn't complain if that was that way. Jets are the bro. I don't even bother with them. I can't pull for them anymore. I just can't do it. But Bills Giants, man. I'm good either way.
Jets is Jets, just end the season.
Oh, just second game, man. Hell, the preseason half the time. Just end the season, please.
All right, so New York, uh, you're near Massachusetts. Obviously, I mentioned you work in New Jersey. Uh, just talk to me a little bit about those respective indie scenes, because New England, it seems like it has its own thing with like Limitless and Chaotic. And then New Jersey, you have ISPW, WrestlePro, JCW. Like, it seems like they each have their own kind of style and flavor. So what's it like for you, sort of, navigating that as, an up and coming star?
Well, I guess it's got its pros and cons, but it's good in a sense because I'm not from that area, so
Mm-hmm.
I found that um, when you get outside of your particular area, um, you do have to prove yourself maybe a little more than a guy from the area. But at the same time, I feel like you get treated a little better because you're not from directly from that area. So it's not like, oh, you're just, Joe Schmo from down the road. You're traveling, you know what I mean? You're traveling 3, 4, 5 hours, however long it is. And you come in and you deliver and you work with everybody well and they treat you well. So
Mm-hmm.
this is something I've noticed. There's an old saying, a prophet is never appreciated in his hometown or his home country. It's true. Personally, the reason why I have to travel out all the time, one is that's just what we do. Two is honestly, there's not a pro wrestling scene up in upstate New York for a myriad of reasons. One major one would be the New York State Athletic Commission makes everything so much harder than it has to be. They almost shut down the Impact tapings that they did up here when they did Bound for Glory in Albany. The day after, they were like trying to shut it down for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they're just a pain to deal with. So I feel like a lot of companies that start out where they try and they really want to do it, it just becomes too much with just everything with all the red tape and the commission always wanting their cut, and it's just a little unnecessary. So that's why a lot of people try to run in Jersey and Massachusetts because there's so much more freedom
Mm-hmm.
to run in those areas. So this is something that I've experienced.
Uh, I know the tapings you're talking about, like there's something with the paramedics and the show started like 2 hours late.
Yep.
Were you just there, or were you working?
No, I did some extra work for them.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was but yeah, that was literally what happened. It started 2 hours late.
Mm-hmm.
They're all sitting there wondering why they're giving us a hard time today when there was no one showed up the day before for Bound
Yeah.
for Glory. There seemed to be no issues.
Yeah.
Well, it was just odd. It felt like a shakedown, to
Mm-hmm.
be honest. That was even Tommy Dreamer said that when he was kind of coming through and he's like, this is like a shakedown. I mean, whatever. Well, do what we got to do. But that's what it feels like. So
Yeah, that was kind of strange, especially as you pointed out, like they did the pay-per-view the night before, no problems, and then it's like, oh, a regular Sunday night, like we're gonna just hold you up for a little while, and it just seems like uh I don't know everything about commissions, but I feel like they're not very good for wrestling. So it
no,
seems
they're
like New York and Kentucky has more problems than actually need.
yeah. To me, it's a money grab. Really, they're even worse. They're even worse than New York City because I've been on shows, um, worked events that were in New York City, and they were awful to deal with. It's like if you touch the guardrails, we're going to shut the show down. If anybody bleeds, even if it's accidentally, we're going to shut the show down. And we're all just like, dude, like it's a calm down. Like
Mhm.
one, it's they just were just going over the top. To be honest, trying to because they put it with MMA and boxing, and I'm like, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
So, but again, to me, it's just a money grab, and that's why like it's hard to run in New York State. So again, the harder it is for promotions to run in New York State, the harder it is for guys like me that are based in New York State to work in our own in New York. So
Mhm.
that's what we travel out. But it ends up being good because you run into a lot of good places, you work them, and then you get to work for a place like ISPW in Jersey, and you know I certainly don't have any complaints about that. So
Yeah, it seems like you're getting quite comfortable out there. Christmas Chaos 2 is coming up on December 9th.
we're gonna close the year out. We're gonna close it out hot. So that's my that's my goal.
That's a four-way ladder match. Obviously, anything can happen. And I know one of the other things that you've been able to do is you've gotten a chance to work with Dave LaGreca, Busted Open host, who has also I don't know if he ever had intentions of getting in the wrestling business, but he's a manager now. It seems like his alliances shift every couple weeks or so. So uh, he-
He's been pretty loyal to me. He
yeah,
always putting me over on Busted Open Radio. He's always out there, you know, being the hype man, and Dave's fantastic. I mean, and actually, fun fact is back on the October 29th show, he was involved in his very first actual wrestling match in a tag team match with myself and him against the Now. So that'll be for the history books. You look up Dave LaGreca's first and possibly only match is I'm involved in it. So
so what's it been like you know getting to work with him? Like obviously I said he's not maybe setting out to be a wrestler, but he's still a wrestling personality, has a big following, obviously has taken a liking to you. So what's that been like, sort of getting a different aspect of learning the wrestling business?
it is. It's been no. It's been really really fun. I might pull back the curtain a little bit. It's been incredibly fun working with him. He is always up for anything. He's a really good guy, and he loves professional wrestling. Like you can tell, this guy is an absolute fan of the products that he works for. It's it's interesting because yes, while he is involved in the wrestling business, he is still also very much a fan. So a lot of times I I like to listen to him. I like to listen to his opinion on things because I we tend a lot of times wrestlers workers we tend to forget a lot of times this is for the fans,
Mhm.
and we oftentimes forget their perspective. So it's always good talking with a guy like him who is very much a fan, uh being able to get his feedback and see kind of see things through his eyes or through the lenses that he sees through. And again, he really is just really just his energy is really what it is, because he anytime he's out there, anytime he's on the mic, or anytime he's cutting a promo or ripping somebody a new one, he is fully into it. He is all in,
Mhm.
and I wish there was more people like that.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
people just, if I might say, a lot of people half-ass things, whether it's in-ring promo, whatever it is. But he goes all out. So to me, I'm like, okay, well, I have to match that then.
Mhm.
So that right there is invaluable to learn from that.
Yeah, I got a chance to say hello to him at Full Gear on Saturday. We were sitting near each other, and it was you can see his passion for it, but then you also see the following he has. Like, there's people that were rows away or sections away, like they had busted open shirts, and they're yelling like up to him, like, "Yo, busted open!" Like waving their shirt, trying to get pictures with him. So it's like
It's great.
that's cool to see, his success, but on, more on track of what we're talking about. Like, you kind of get to be there for the ride, so to speak, or sit on sit under the learning tree and hopefully, have a little bit of that rub off on you.
Oh, of course. Oh, of course. That's it's not. It's really not something that a lot of guys get to do with a guy that is that high profile of a guy, to say, hey, listen, I've been managed by Dave LaGreca. It's really not a lot of guys that can say that. I'm pretty sure it's just me and Danny Doring. That's
Mm.
that's really it. So it's really cool to see that, and I love seeing, and because he's a friend of mine. I love seeing my friend's success. There's a lot of people that I will see in this business where, um, they'll be happy for their friends or whatever, but they don't want to see them do better than them.
Mm.
That's an unfortunate thing that a lot of us deal with. But I see him. He got to do the NXT pre-show for Halloween Havoc, and like any of his successes, I'm so happy to see it, because he is such a good guy, and it's all extremely well deserved. So again, it's like yeah, okay, that's one of our guys. That's one of us, that makes it. And I feel like you're seeing that a little more and more. Guys that even if you don't know them personally, they're like from your area or from your scene, like like Anthony Bowens,
Mm.
and with the Acclaimed, and MJF. Like, I don't know these guys personally, but they're from like Long Island.
Mm.
They're from right there, man. It's like our area, you know what I'm saying? And it's good. It's awesome to see that, like, guys that have been on their grind and have really worked so hard, and they get that spotlight now, and it's awesome to see how the industry has gone from having one platform, just one real major platform, to all these different platforms that guys can succeed on. So that makes me very excited as a worker, and deep down as the fan that I still am.
Mm. Uh, I usually do a watch list feature where I ask for match picks, but is there any match that, you know, maybe anywhere you've worked that you'd say you showed who you want to be, or you felt like you wrestled a complete match? Anything come to mind as far as like
Yeah, I would.
like you would sit down a fan and be like, here's what you're getting when you see me in the ring?
Yes, there is one that comes to mind. There's several, and I have had a lot of really good matches at ISPW. Like, I really feel like I've grown there, but this particular one isn't. It's from another promotion that I've worked for, Titan Championship Wrestling. It's
Mhm.
in They're in like Central South Jersey area,
Okay.
but I wrestled Nikos Ricos in a 2 out of 3 falls match, and that match was about 36 minutes.
Mhm.
That I would that would probably be the match I would sit people down and watch, to have them see like, okay, this is who you're getting.
Mhm.
That was a little while ago. I have evolved and grown since then. But like, if you wanted to pull up a match that I can think of that was like, wow, that took people on a ride, because I remember being in it, and it was a ride.
Mhm.
So that one always, I always remember that match. People bring it up to me too. And it's funny because I'm like, it was just an independent match, but people
Mhm.
bring it to me, and it's that fans, not just workers, fans bring that up to me, and it's like, wow, like people that remember this, because sometimes like you do this and you're like, oh, well, are people gonna remember it?
Mhm.
But when you do, it's like, okay, so you did your job, you did what you were supposed to do. That was definitely a match that I will always love, always will always cherish.
Was that the first time you worked with him before? I know him, so
No,
I know
that
him from WrestlePro, and
that
I know he's done. I think he did a couple tri-state title matches for ISPW too.
Yes, he was, yes, and he actually was the tri-state champion for a bit too.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, he was. Uh, but no, that wasn't the first time. That capped off a rivalry that we had. We wrestled each other at that. I think that was our fourth match for this particular company, and it was
Mhm.
a rivalry that it was about a year long, over the spread out obviously, but over the
Mhm.
year. Because we first time we wrestled each other was the first independent show back from the pandemic, which was in like June of 2020. I think we were actually the first company that had ran a show. It was an outdoor show, you know. But yeah, that was the first time I'd wrestled him, and then we did a few more subsequent times, and then that following, I believe, was September 2021. That was when that match was, the 2 out of 3, because it had to come like to an end, because we pretty much had a draw in every match. They were
Mhm.
literally all three. So we're like, okay, this has to be something, you know, big, or something that really cements like who the winner really was. So, and that was that match. And again, he was he was an absolute professional.
Mhm.
Uh, he is he's really good. I feel he's very underrated, and he shouldn't be.
Mhm.
He really shouldn't be. He's excellent in the ring. Um, Far better than some people will give him credit for. Uh, yeah, I definitely, that's definitely a match I would pull up anytime.
All right, I like it. As I mentioned, the ladder match that you're in is for the tri-state title. It's going to be TJ Epics, Michael Mars, and GKM, December 9th at Christmas Chaos 2.
Yep.
Anywhere else people can check you out, whether it's follow along, any other upcoming events you have that you want to get the word out about?
December 2nd is Excite Wrestling in Binghamton against ECW legend HC Loke. That is a match I've been wanting for a long time. And so I finally get to get it in.
All right, I like it. Thanks again for your time, Rick Recon. Check him out. Those appearances, and then ISPW Christmas Chaos 2, December 9th. Thanks for your time, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.